What's the saddest moment from a TV show in your opinion? When they tell Big Bird on Sesame Street that Mr. Hooper died, the actual actor died. Everyone was crying real tears. I was an adult when I saw that clip and I still bawled. If you've never seen the footage of Big Bird singing It's Not Easy Being Green at Jim Henson's funeral, look it up and get prepared to have your day ruined. The episode of MASH where Ada has to read out Henry's death while they are all in the operating room. They all have to react and then put it behind them and get back to work. And they keep working in complete silence. You always see them talking and joking while operating, but then they all stopped. I felt like it was so real. Band of Brothers. When Bill Guarnere and Joe Toy get blown up and you see the effect it has on Buck. But the part that really gets me is when they talk about how none of the men look down on Buck for breaking after seeing his friends like that. Luck of the Freerish. Futurama. Fry spends the whole episode hating his, now long deceased brother, thinking he stole his identity and got famous for being the first man on Mars using Fry's lucky clover. The episode even has flashbacks to make a point of how Fry's brother was always trying to one-up him and be better. Fry decides he's getting his clover back, so he goes to his brother's grave to exhume him and basically grave rob what's his back, only to find out after he's basically completed the deed that it's actually his brother's son whom he named Fry in honor of him. The bittersweet ending of that episode tugged at my heartstrings, especially when they started playing Don't You Forget About Me, which had been previously referenced in the episode. That one and Seymour's tragic end were rough to watch. The final episode of season 6 in House where the woman he tries to save dies before making it to the hospital. House snaps at Foreman for trying to make things better, tells him to stay out of his way, then goes back to his apartment and shatters a mirror in the process of grabbing for his Vicodin stash which he has been clean from for some time. Cuddy comes in, and she reveals her feelings. It's the first time we ever really see House's emotional barriers come down, and he looks sad, pathetic, vulnerable, and unsure. Futurama. Jurassic Park. That ending gets me every time. When Fry found out that it was his nephew and not his brother got me more. I was holding back the tears there. Futurama had so many touching moments. One of the only times to make me cry from a TV show was when Laverne died in Scrubs. She was holding on for so long, and then after Carla finally came to say goodbye she passed. Brutal episode. The rabies organ donor one got me. Very powerful. Quantum Leap finale when the bartender is trying to guide Sam towards the realization that he can leap home anytime he's ready to, and Sam thinks he needs to save Al's marriage instead. The bartender says God bless Sam and the leaps continued until his death. Dr. Samuel Beckett never returned home. How about the scene when Sam leaps back to his childhood home in Indiana and he sings Imagine by John Lennon to prove to his sister that he's from the future. It's such an emotional roller coaster that goes from heartfelt innocence to helpless anger. Beautiful. The end of the 10th Doctor. I don't wanna go just about broke me, especially knowing it was written in by Tennant and Russell T Davies and was really how they felt. It took me a long while to get into Matt Smith after that, which was a shame as he was very good. I feel the same way. Matt Smith never got me the way 9 and 10 did. I have to say one of the saddest moments will always be the death of Marshall's dad in Him. The countdown in the episode never made sense until you have seen it completely, and as it turns to 0 Lily tells Marshall his dad died. Such an overall emotional episode. Never can make it through it without crying. Came here to say this. Fantastic episodes of television. The I'm not ready for this line where he sobs while hugging Lily is heartbreaking. And then the rant on the phone when he gets the last message from his dad. Such a good show. Boy Meets World when TJ Murphy, the young orphan that loves Eric Matthews, is told by Eric Matthews, Tommy, I'm not gonna adopt you, because Eric was not in a suitable position to adopt him, and Tommy looks at Eric with the saddest face and goes, I don't like you anymore. I'm going to go to California with people who care about me. Supernatural. When young Dean turned down his prom date at high school to go back to his dad and brother. Gets me tearing up every time. Charlie's Hunter send-off was pretty painful, too. Same with Ijits. I have something in my eye. Supernatural swan song when Sam, possessed by Lucifer, beats Dean nearly to death, and Dean lets him. telling Sam he's here and he's not alone. Then Sam sees a little army man tucked in the car and remembers all their moments together in this beautiful montage. And then Sam is able to overtake his body again and sacrifices himself by throwing himself into the pit as Dean watches. Beautifully written and a perfect testament to the relationship between them. The show should have ended there. Emo. The Wire. After Bubbles has accidentally killed Sherrod and is in the mental ward, Steve goes in and he breaks down instantly. Kima just stands in the hallway then walks away. Heartbreaking. This for sure. Also, when Carver drops Randy at the group home then goes outside and wails on his steering wheel out of frustration. When Pam was crying when she found out Jim and Karen were going to live together, that crushed me. But it did have a wholesome moment when Dwight said, "Who did this to you? I'll get them." I always thought this scene was so nice for showing the viewer that side of Dwight and how good his heart is despite being misguided on occasion. In him when Barney and Robin cheated on their so's, Kevin and Nora, and promised they would meet at the bar later to discuss their future relationship together. And then when they later met up at the bar after Barney breaks up with Nora, but Robin shows up with Kevin, you can see the pain Barney feels when Robin shakes her head no and then the time stops. And later when he goes up to her apartment and cleaned up the rose petals he had laid on her bed and blew out the candles. Man, that killed me. Yes, this one hurt me to my core. It was one of only a few moments where you saw a raw side to Barney. Michael's last episode on The Office. I've seen every episode at least 10 times each except that one, only being able to watch it once. All my teens and I cried too, especially when Michael and Jim arrange lunch for the next day, both knowing he'll be gone by then, and when they all sing to Michael, which Steve Carell was unaware of until it happened, so his tears are very real. Walking Dead. When Carol's daughter Sophia walks out of the barn as a zombie, brought the entire group to their knees, even Shane. Also, when Glenn died, couldn't even watch the scene. Look at the flowers. Ira singing in Bar Sing set to remember the death of his son Lou 10. However, Mako, voice actor, was partially crying as he had cancer and died before the end of the 3rd season. I have yet to watch that episode without crying. I had no idea. His replacement did an incredible job, then. The Time Travelers episode of Him. Frickin' heartbreaking. Ted thinks he's having a conversation with Barney at the bar about going out but realizes it was all in his imagination, from a past memory, and he was actually there alone all night. It ends with him saying if he could relive that night the first thing he would do is visit the mother. He imagines himself rushing to her and telling her that they will meet 45 days from now and will fall in love, get married and have 2 kids. But he is here now because he wants the extra 45 days with her because he loves her and will love her forever and beyond. Absolutely heartbreaking and beautiful. BoJack Horseman spoilers. At the end of the Ruthie episode after PC fires Judah and tells BoJack Ruthie is a figment of her imagination so she can pretend everything is going to be okay. That was the most gut-wrenching twist I've ever seen. Either that, the end of stupid piece of crap with Hollyhock or all of free churro. BoJack is just so incredible at speaking to the human condition in such a relatable way. It's truly amazing. The episode The Quarterback from Glee. The episode is made to honor Corey Monteith after his death. I can't hold it in because you can see how the actor's emotions are genuine. I was crying the whole time, but when Leah has her moment, I lost it. Every time I listen to that recording, I lose it. There's such emotion in her voice, unlike anything else. When Michael left the office, he said to everyone that he was leaving on the next day. Then Jim goes into his office and they have a heart-to-heart conversation because Michael was actually leaving on the next couple hours. In addition, when Pam finds Michael in the airport, and they hug and cry. God dang. That episode makes me cry every time. Exactly. Also, watching Michael's face as they all sang to him in the conference room. I believe Steve didn't know they were going to do that, and the tears in his eyes are 100% real. Does Fullmetal Alchemist count? It's a terrible day for Rain. Hugh's death really screwed me up, especially his daughter asking why are they burying daddy? I physically can't make it through the Nina episode. The gargled big brother makes me feel sick to my stomach. Hugh's death ruined me too. I've got 3 that come to mind. In the Scrubs episode My Screw Up, when JD asks Dr. Cox where do you think we are? Extra sad because the first time you watch the episode it comes out of nowhere and hits you like a ton of bricks. Grey's Anatomy when Denny dies. In Offspring, an Australian TV show, when Patrick dies. I've been wanting to rewatch the series but I've been putting it off because I don't think I can watch that episode again. The first Simpsons episode with Homer's mother, when he finds out she's still alive after all but then at the end, she has to leave again and the outro is just Homer sitting on his car until nighttime. This part on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Mac and his daughter when the framework collapses. Guy has to go through the death of a daughter twice. Second time he's holding her and she's crying and saying I don't wanna disappear, I wanna be real, and then she disappears. I have no idea how he keeps going. Besides, you know, it's a television show. Mac is the GOAT man, he deserves to be director. For me, it was David Tennant's departure in Doctor Who. That really hit me in the feels, as I had grew up with him. I Don't Wanna Go is forever with me. I'd say the start of the Breaking Bad episode immediately after the episode where she died. The shot starts under the mattress, bed creaking from Jesse trying to give her CPR. Then the follow-up with Mike's first appearance, showing the cleanup of the apartment and Jesse completely locked up. Phenomenal acting by Aaron Paul. I always thought Aaron Paul was underrated in Breaking Bad. Everyone talked about Walt's character development and so on, but Aaron's performance was just as impressive. When they killed OP on Sons of Anarchy, the Fresh Prince one about his dad too. That one was almost uncomfortable. I got this. When Deb dies and Dexter buries her at sea. I know that finale sucked overall and the quality dipped, but I really loved those characters and it killed me to see that. Scrubs, where do you think we are? The Raby's deaths and Dr. Cox's breakdown, Laverne's death and Carla's goodbye, Futurama, Fry and his dog, How I Met Your Mother, Marshall's dad's death, Band of Brothers, Buck Compton standing over his friends who just had their legs blown off and his breakdown from it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the entire episode The Body, but if I had to pick one moment it's when Buffy finds Joyce's body on the couch and says mommy crushing. That whole episode sets a mood brilliantly as well. It has no music and uses a lot of camera tricks and effects to really push the grief home. Nora from The Leftovers coming downstairs to the replicas of her vanished family sitting around her table. I have never closed my eyes because something was too sad, not scary, I just heaved sobs. Kevin's performance of Homeward Bound crushed me as well. When the characters from Glee mourn the loss of Cory Monteith through the death of his character, Finn, knowing their pain is real is tragic. It's really hard to watch that episode. I can't believe I scrolled through more than half this thread and didn't see Henry Blake's death. MASH. Maybe it's a generational thing. To have Radar deliver the message was painful. It wouldn't have the impact if any other character would have delivered it. When Herschel died on The Walking Dead, whole family was crying. He was still alive even after his head was about severed. When Pops sacrificed himself to save the rest of the park in the series finale of regular show. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but that was totally brutal for me to watch and made it worse that the show ended as well. That Better Call Saul story arc where Jimmy basically ruined that old lady's social life in her retirement home so he could do his case. God, I felt bad for her. Shireen's death on Game of Thrones. She only wanted to help her father, be a good daughter, and worst of all, her sacrifice was in vain. Davos' confrontation with Melisandre is also devastating. She was good, she was kind, and you killed her. So did her father, so did her mother. On Avatar The Last Airbender, when Iroh spends a day helping random people in Ba Sing Se and he sings a song to a little boy. Later you see him singing that same song as a shrine he set up for his dead son. It was the song he used to sing for him when he was a little kid. 2 from the classic MASH, which still holds up thanks to the quality of the writing. Spoilers follow, although it's been 40 years. So, when Radar announces in the OR that Henry's plane had been shot down, he was such a beloved character and the goodbye had been so emotional. To follow with that blow was a devastating 1-2 punch. As I've heard it, the producers didn't tell the actors, other than Radar, so the emotional reaction they capture was real. In the series finale, when Hawkeye realizes the true memory he had been suppressing about what the mother had done on the bus, the combination of such a horrendous event with Alder's powerful acting was, well, powerful sad. In the Office finale where everybody's hanging out in the office and catching up, and then Creed starts playing his song. Probably already on here, but when Hank gets killed in Breaking Bad, man, that still hurts. You're the smartest guy I've ever known, but you're too stupid to see, he made his mind up 10 minutes ago. When Courage and Courage the Cowardly Dog lost his parents while the vet rockets them to the moon. Search it, it's really sad. Scrubs. Forget her name, but the suicidal female patient they have. When she finally succeeded in her attempts, they didn't sugarcoat it or divert the episode. That hit me harder than a food truck at a convention. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.